In this video of the Better Photography Weekly Challenge, we will be discussing the winners and honorable mentions of the contest Bring on the Night. Our judge and mentor is Aditya Nair. A writer and photographer, Aditya is a fan of the absurd, the abstract, and the macabre. He can usually be found making perfectly sane things look bizarre. His work combines surrealism, pop art, and documentary aesthetics. He has written for various publications, including Better Photography, Hindustan Times, and Red Bull Media, and is currently working in advertising and communications.
Let's get to why everyone's here, the winners and honorable mentions for this contest. In the camera category, we start off with this beautiful image of a balloon surrounded by mists of smoke that created a real nice atmosphere around the photograph. I think this is a fantastic moment and shows that the photographer clearly has an eye for finding the interesting moments in an otherwise seemingly mundane situation. I think a few things that could have worked more in their favor would probably have been just to wait for the balloons to have come under the lamplight so that they were a little more reflective and you could see them more clearly, and perhaps a little bit of brightening up in Photoshop or like an editing tool, which would have certainly given more of a focus to the balloon. At the moment, it feels to me that they just uh, fade a little too much into the surrounding shadows and darkness. But otherwise, I think this shows a photographer who has the ability to spot like simple moments of intrigue in an otherwise normal surrounding. This image is fantastic. I love it. I think this shows just, I love the attitude of the gentleman who's standing in the middle of a flood, drinking his chai, I'm guessing. I think it really captures a sense of the scene and like we discussed how irreverent should be a theme in this contest, and I think the the gentleman in this image shows that phenomenally well. I think one of the things that takes away from this image is the lady has noticed the photographer, so rather than uh, going about her moment, she's actually more focused on the photographer, which sort of breaks the immersion for a viewer. But otherwise, I think this is a fantastic movie. Again, it's a really great picture showing you like a quiet setting, which shooting at night really lends itself towards. I think there's like a little interesting light trail that's leading you into the photograph. Uh, and you have this sense of quiet and sense of isolation with the like late night petrol pump in the scene. One of the things that I would have wished for was just something that once I'm led into the photograph, just something that would hold my attention, which I think is missing from the photograph. But otherwise, it's captured a really nice sense of place. Uh, this is again a great example of how to use night photography to your advantage. One of the things that photographers always worry about is the ability to show enough details, and this image really just tells you that you can capture beautiful images with just the most minimal amount of detail that tells you everything you need to know. Again, a fantastic image. I believe this is powder that's been thrown in the air, and the photographers used his flash really creatively to get these light flecks out of it. Gives you a sense of rain, almost like a rainstorm, and he's captured the moment quite perfectly. Again, I think just the eye contact between the camera and the moment that's happening just really makes it a good image and a great example of getting creative with photographs at night. This is always fun. Like fire off a flash, move your camera around. It's always a blast. You always get weird moments. Most of them you end up having to get rid of, but the photographer here has found something that's truly a great picture. I love the way that the light trails are framing the subject of the image, and I love how he's made use of flash and a slow shutter speed to capture a unique looking image. This is again a really nice image. It's a quiet moment, again something that night photography lends itself to quite a bit. Uh, this is a gentleman who's praying at during All Souls Day, and I think the photographers used his the sense of composition and lighting to really frame this image beautifully. So you get layers of people having just a moment to themselves, really, with the loved ones who have passed away. So the winner for this category is this image that comes in from Calcutta. I think this is a really creative use of flash and really like it gives you a sense of attitude with the subject matter. Now, kids don't try this at home. Flash photography, yes. The subject of this image, no. But I think the photographer has taken a moment to choose his composition and framing in a way that is that enhances the overall quality of this photograph and really conveys a sense of attitude that these kids seem to bring to the photograph. So I think this is a great use of flash photography. When we move into the camera category, so here you have a beautiful symmetry that go between the shadow and the style of paintings in the background, which is again fantastic use of shadows and low light just to create both depth and as well as a connection between the subject and objects in the background. All right. This is an, the photographer is clearly going for a sense of irony here. I like the bond between man and dogs as a subject for photography. And clearly, a bond between a man and his dog doesn't spoil the beauty of a place, so it in fact enhances it. I think, given that the theme was irreverence, this is doing the exact opposite of that by capturing a moment which is enhancing the beauty of a place with a board that says, "Don't spoil the beauty of this place." But it's certainly an appreciable moment that the photographers spotted and taken time to sort of frame and capture. This is a good juxtaposition. I love the contrasting colors. I think one of the things about night photography is you always find this sort of juxtaposition between warm light and cold lights as you step, and he's really used it well. So you're immediately attracted to the lamp that occupies most of the frame, and then as you explore the frame, you eventually make your way to the man who's walking away from the camera, so that leads you further into the photograph. And I think this is he's done a fantastic job to just have these two elements and use and let everything else fall into shadow and darkness. And finally, the winning image for the cell phone category is this beautiful picture of the shadow of two cats. I think the framing is excellent. I understand from the photographer that there's something that attracted the attention of the two cats and they jumped up and like were at attention. And I think this again shows you the power of playing with shadows where you don't really have to show a subject to tell us there is a subject in the frame. And and along with the framing and the way like everything in the frame just sort of draws you into the shadows, makes this a really good image for me. All right, so the two winners for the camera category and for the smartphone category, congratulations, Sanit and Pallavi. Better Photography will be in touch with you.
Do you have any word of advice for all the images that you've seen so far?
I think the photographers have done an incredible job using the constraints that night photography offers and to use that creatively and to capture interesting moments that there's something special about each of these pictures. I think the only advice that I have for photographers, and that's the only advice that I actually give anyone, is go out and shoot. It's not necessarily the best advice to give people in the current climate, but hopefully once things settle down, I would just say go out and shoot in the night as much as you can. It's a lot of fun, and don't forget to have fun while doing it.